We have already created 3 types of roses, and now it's only left for us to create the last size, which is the biggest size in this Denim Rose Bouquet. And this is an open rose which has a different center, it has stamens, and it has different petals. So this flower is quite different from what we've already done before. There will be some similar things like calyx and the stem. You already know how to make those. The leaves are coming after we've done all the flowers. So to create this rose, we will need the following materials when we're starting to make the center. You'll need a couple of wires again, and more to build the stem, a little bit of cotton wool, a little bit of denim fabric. I have this square, I probably will need less than that. I like using a lighter weight denim for that, perhaps like 4 ounces. If you don't have, you can use any. It's just might be a little bit bulkier to shape around the small cotton wool ball that we're creating. Either way, you can use any denim. Just try to be neat when you are making the center. And you will also need some stamens for this design. Not a lot, perhaps 40 to 60 or so to organize around your center. And mine are black. You can choose blue, navy, or something totally different, however you prefer, and depending on what idea you have behind your design. So have all that handy. We'll start by making the center of this rose, and we'll need the wires and the cotton wool for that first. Again, the size of the center can vary. I chose to have quite a small one for this particular project, but you can make it bigger for other roses if you prefer. So I need to dip my wires into the glue and thread the cotton wool through the wires. If you don't have wires that bend, you can just start wrapping the cotton wool around the top of your wires. Make sure that the wire tops are covered, especially if yours are pointy. So we need to create a smallish ball of cotton wool, quite dense, because all our stamens are going to be attached to it. So not too big, maybe about 1 centimeter or even less, depending on, you know, how you want to see it or how it turns out for you. So quite a dense little ball like this. You can use a bit more glue if you want to compress it and make sure the cotton wool is not coming off it. So mine is about just under 1 centimeter here. And the next task is to cover this ball with my cotton wool, my denim fabric. The next step is to cover the cotton wool ball with this denim fabric. As you can see, my piece is rather large, so I can cut it smaller, and even this will probably be big. Whatever extra fabric there is, I can always cut it off later. So we want to cover it and make sure it's really smooth on the top. If there is anything, any pleats, they should be towards the bottom of this cotton wool ball or hiding underneath. So you can put a bit of glue kind of around the edges. Try not to put too much at the very top because it will go straight through when we're pulling on it. So you can do all the straight edges first, kind of roughly. So north, south, east, west, and then you can pull by the sides, by these corners, to make sure that the fabric is quite tightly pulled over the cotton wool. The main area that we should make as perfect as possible is the top, because that will be very seen. The edges will be half covered with stamens, so they're not going to be as obvious. So try to make sure that the top is very smooth. You can see there is a bit of leftover fabric. I can go ahead and carefully cut this off. These extra corners. Try to cut off enough to keep the cotton wool ball flattish underneath. We don't want any fabric going down the wires because it's going to be in the way of petals and finishing the rose. So this is it for the center. This is how it looks right now. The next step is to do the stamens, but before we do them, we need to complete the stem, at least build it with extra wires, because this is a little bit thin, so I have some extra wires to do it, and I'll need to add them to my stem and also cover it with an additional layers of fabric before I move on to stamens. You already know how to do it. We've done it in previous lessons. If you haven't seen them, please go back and watch the lesson where I'm showing how to finish the stem. I have built my stem to the point that I can go ahead and add the stamens to my center. This stem will still need to be covered with denim fabric, but I will do it at a later stage after I have added all the petals. So to add the stamens, divide them first into 4 groups, equal, roughly, let's say, and then we need to glue them inside these groups together. This will help us add the stamens quicker rather than one by one, which might take a very long time. So what I'm doing is I'm holding the stamens like this and putting glue on the center of this bunch. Depending on how tall you want your stamens, you might want to add more or less glue. If you like them very tall, you can just glue them in the very center. If you want them to be shorter, you'll have to trim them, so make sure you've glued them well enough. So then we'll cut them in the middle, and because the stamens are double-sided, so you're going to end up with 8 little bunches of stamens like this. And then we can glue them to the center in a more efficient way. So go ahead and glue all these stamens that you have prepared in the same way. I'm keeping the height roughly at the same level. For this particular design, you can have them more random if that suits you more, or your design, and that's up to you. So right now I'm just gluing these stamens into bunches to make my process quicker. Just rub the glue into the stamen threads and cut them roughly in the middle. We will probably be trimming them a bit later. Once you have glued all the stamen bunches, you can measure them against your center and decide how long or short you'd like them to be. Mine seem to be a bit too long than I want them, so I'm going to trim a bit and then use this bunch as my measurement for all others. So to keep them roughly at the same level. So once we've prepared them in this way, we can add the glue and organize them around the center. So I'm adding the glue at the base of each bunch. This is where I'm going to be gluing them to my center. We have 8 bunches. It's very easy to glue around in a circle. You can just glue 4 crisscross and then add 4 more in between the first 4. So I'm going to be attaching them just underneath the cotton wool ball covered with denim. So one, second one here. Third one. Fourth one. Try to push them underneath your ball so that the area underneath the ball is kept flat. Especially it's important if you are going to make a flat rose like this for a corsage. So you want it to be flat here. In this particular rose it might not matter that much because it's going to be a calyx there, but still it's useful to make sure no stamens go down the stem. So I've put 4 here and you can see there are gaps in between them. I'm just going to fill them with the leftover bunches. And then perhaps double check to make sure I have a full circle of stamens more or less evenly spread around the center. The glue sticks to your fingers as well. You have to persevere and eventually it will dry and stop sticking. Right now the stamens are very close. It's because they are still not glued. Once they have attached, once the glue has set, we can then fan them out a little bit better and make sure they are more open in a nice way. So at the moment I'm not going to do it because otherwise they're going to start detaching themselves from the rose. So just push them in, and as you can see I'm trying to keep it neat here so there isn't any bulk underneath my center. It's best to leave it right now for a bit to set, and then we can come back to it later after we've done the petals, and then we will be able to open the stamens nicely.